Hi everybody, Miss V here. Thought I'd jump on. I promised I would do a lot more videos, so here I am doing another video. I don't have a chair here though. I'm trying to like kill two birds with one stone and like do all of my cleaning and filing and stuff. So what do I want to jump on and talk about? I guess I can't remember which videos I've uploaded because in my previous stuff I've mentioned that I was having some issues with my internet and uploading all of the videos. So I don't know if I mentioned to you guys that I was kind of seeing someone and it was sort of fairly new, but I've known him for a very long time, and I thought things were going really well. I think we were progressing very well. We had a really good time together and we were laughing together, and you know, he really made me feel like hopeful that I could be happy again. And I think you know, he just came out of a long-term relationship a couple months ago, so it was a bit of shit timing, I guess, in the way that we sort of reconnected. Like I said, I'd met him like 10 years ago, so it was a nice surprise to know that he still felt the same way about me, and I fancied him, of course. And then yeah, so he'd been a bit elusive and had said to me, you know, I'm not really sure where my head's at. I've just come out of this relationship. Obviously some days are better than others, and I can completely appreciate that, because obviously in the early stages of, you know, having left my ex, you know, there were certain things about him that I missed, and you know, I missed him as a person, and definitely it's easier to remember the good times when you're out of it, rather when you're in it, you just go, fuck, this is really shit. So, anyway, so to cut a long story short, you know, he told me how he felt, and he was really honest, and I'm very grateful that he was very honest with me and said, look, you know, I don't really know where my head is at. I've just come out of this relationship. I don't want you to expect too much from me, which comes from a very honest place from his point of view. But I suppose you have to look out for number one, and that's me. And I can only control, you know, my thoughts and my feelings. I really would like to find a chair. And anyway, so I basically started to pull away a little bit, because I was like, you know what, if I continue to emotionally invest in this, it's very risky for me. And obviously I come from a place where I've had time to grieve and I've had time to heal, and I've spent that time, you know, really you know, grieving and letting go of the past and getting rid of all of my ex's stuff. And I'm happy to report that the other day I knew that I had them, but I found my wedding DVDs and my wedding album. I had like, obviously I had a big album printed, which I left behind for my ex to do with it what he wanted. But I had this mini album, and in a fit of sheer frustration, I bent all of the CDs and I threw them in the bin. I was like, you know what am I holding on to this stuff for? If I have kids, I don't want to show my kids my first wedding I've ever had, you know? And I felt like energetically I was still holding on to something. You know, I had a beautiful wedding. I had an amazing day. I don't regret that day. but I probably don't want to go back and replay my wedding video. What's the point? So that was a big step for me because I knew I had it. That was kind of like the very final thing that I had. I also had some towels of his that I was using because obviously in a split, in a breakup, I kind of didn't have much. So I took what I could find and we decided to split the towels. So I had his towels still. So, you know, a big step for me was to go out and buy some new towels. Now that might not seem like something that's very true. It might seem something that's very trivial, but I don't know, for some reason I didn't get rid of the towels until the other day when I donated all of them. So even though I had more when I had his towels, I got rid of his towels, replaced only a couple of those towels and went, you know, I don't need 10 towels. What for? If I need to wash some towels, I'll just wash them, right? So anyway, so I did that, and I'm digressing. A lot of the time I tend to digress into other little stories before I lose my train of thought as to what I was actually telling you guys about. So anyway, talking to this guy, hadn't heard from him all weekend. I was a bit bummed and thought, oh, okay, well, you know, things have kind of tapered off and I probably won't hear from him again. Heard from him after a full weekend. I heard from him Monday night. I didn't respond until the next morning, and then a full 24 hours plus more went by, and then he called me again. I was like, what are you fucking playing at? Like, if you want to hear from me, message me. He's like, well, you could have messaged me as well. Yeah, okay, granted, I could have. I had put my hand up that, yeah, probably could have. Anyway, so I kind of just had a conversation with him yesterday and was just like, look, I don't do grey at all. In fact, I get very, trying to think of the way to put it, I get very up in my head when I'm in grey. I like black, I like white. I like to know where I stand. I like to know that you like me and you want to spend time with me and you want to see where this goes. I'm not asking to get married tomorrow, but I know eventually in my future I want to get married again and have kids. That's just something that I know that I want. And I'm not saying that he was it, but I enjoyed his company and spending time with him, and obviously I've put a lot of content on my channel about grieving and being in this state of mind of not feeling worthy enough, and that's something I'm really struggling with. Just to digress again, because I love doing that, I'm reading a really interesting book about a lady who does hypnotherapy, and she has a theory that you can go through trauma in a previous life and experience pain and fears in this life that you've carried over from an unidentified trauma. So there was obviously in this book, there's quite a few different stories that this woman talks about. And there was this one particular story where this guy had a fear of standing up for himself and being sort of the center of attention and being the first one to kind of jump into anything. And it turns out that when she did some hypnotherapy on him, turns out in a previous life, he had a big affinity and a big, he was drawn a lot to like the American Indian, sort of past, you know, liked dream catchers and liked the stories and the headdresses and, you know, everything about North American Indians. Anyway, so she was telling this story and he was regressing to her that eventually they found out in a previous life he was a son of a chief, a son or a son-in-law of a chief, and he went out to battle and was the first one sort of getting to their opponents, and all he remembers is being hit from behind and his face being face down in the mud. Anyway, so he had this massive fear, and he was convinced that, you know, he was set up by his own tribe. Now, they went back and did more work with this guy, and they sooner found out that he was actually accidentally hit by one of his men. So they obviously threw a tomahawk to obviously hurt the enemy, but it actually got him instead. So once he discovered and found out that he was not intentionally hurt, but accidentally hurt, he had this sense of relief and his emotions. He was kind of, it kind of set him free, and it kind of helped him heal a lot about that particular trauma that he had in a previous life that he was still carrying in this life. So I don't know, that's a theory that I have, that I carry a lot of fears and anxiety and a lot of past life trauma that I'm still not coping with in this life. So make of that what you will. It's just a theory. It's not something I'm trying to impose on anyone here, but I certainly resonated with that a lot, because I feel like time and time again I'm doing a lot of Reiki, I'm doing a lot of healing, I'm doing a lot of processing, and speaking to my psychologist in our last session, she did say that, you know, I had my trauma that I've been through, I can't change, and that's going to stay with me, which is probably not a good thing to say to someone like me. Anyway, she was like, it's not going to change, it's going to stay with you. You just have to learn to identify what the triggers are and why they're happening, and understand why they're happening. So for me, meeting someone and being somewhat rejected, so even though in this instance, this guy that I was seeing, fabulous man, amazing chemistry together, makes me laugh, like, is everything that I'm looking for. The only one thing that's the problem is the fact that he's still hung up on his ex and trying to deal with the emotional processing of finishing a relationship with someone that he spent a lot of his time with. 6 years with someone, that's a long time. I can completely relate. I was in my relationship for 5 years, so the point I'm trying to make is that having met this amazing person, I made the decision for me to let him go. And I got to the point where I was so sick and tired of guessing where I stand and waiting to hear from him. I was driving myself crazy based on one person's actions, which made me not be who I am. And it brought up those emotions and those fears that I have to a kind of almost like a self-sabotage. I don't know. I'm really struggling with it. And I'm feeling... do you know what? I stewed on making this decision for a number of weeks. Is he the right one? Do I just wait around? Is it too soon? Are you pushing too much? You know, are you too picky? Like, what's going on? The way that we sort of reconnected was very out of the blue, very serendipity. And I'm a huge believer on being in the right place at the right time, and things happen for a reason, and I'm a huge believer of that. But I also believe that I deserve someone who doesn't have to think twice about wanting to see me or contact me, or, you know, at least be straight up with me and say, you know, I like you, I'm enjoying your company, I don't think I'm quite ready for a relationship, but I don't want to stop what this is. I want to keep going because I enjoy your company so much. That is a whole nother ball game. That is a different story. But for someone to say to me, I don't know where my head's at, I don't know what he's doing. It's my dog. Yeah, just the way that it came across, and then the games of, you know, not hearing from him and only hearing from him on a weekend, so feeling like a weekend booty call. It really didn't sit well with me, and I've been stewing on it for a long time. I've been gaining a lot of opinions from a lot of people, conflicting opinions. Some people say just let him go. Some people say just stick it out. It's too soon. I'm 32. Like, I'm done playing games. Anyway, so last night, Snowy, what are you doing? Oh, no. No. I've got walnuts in my house. Don't laugh. But my neighbour told me that whole walnuts, if you store them in your house, it keeps the spiders away. So I tucked one right behind one of my bookcases, and my dog had managed to get in there, and he likes to chew them and leave little walnuts all over the house. I don't even know if dogs are meant to have walnuts or not, but this is a no-no. Anyway, back to my story. So last night I was talking to him on the phone, and I got a little bit annoyed. I was like, look, I haven't heard from you. I don't do games. Like, I do black, I do white, and nothing in between. I can't do the in between because it drives me fucking crazy. And yeah, so look, I'm upset to say that I did end things with him because it was very apparent in that conversation that he was not over his ex. Even though he was the one that instigated the breakup, you know, I'm sad about it. I really am, because, you know, for the first time, I feel like I met someone who I want to spend time with, and I feel like it's not reciprocated, and I couldn't stand to continue to pretend like it was okay, that it wasn't equally reciprocated. And I don't know if this is I'm upset, and I feel sad. I feel a little bit rejected. I feel a little bit used, to be honest. But I owe it to myself to be true to who I am and what I stand for, and not allow someone else to dictate my actions, and not allow someone else to make me feel like shit about myself, and make me question who I am, and make me, you know, like, I was losing a little bit of sleep. I was stressing out. I don't know where I stand. You know, for my own sanity, I was just like, I'm really sorry, Bob. We'll give him a name. It is Bob. I'm really sorry, but I can't do this anymore. You clearly need more time to grieve your ex, and I completely understand it, and I appreciate it, and I respect it. It's just fucking shit timing. Kind of, you know, everything happens for a reason, and I hate wishing for something different, but I'm just so frustrated. I really liked him. Looking and watching all my notifications. I just feel like switching off my phone and just locking myself away. But again, that's fucking dramatic. I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying really hard to stay positive, and things could be so much worse, but This is why I have this channel. I just talk about how I feel, because as much as I talk about this to girlfriends and friends, even, you know, family, I don't know, I feel like this helps more. They're impartial to an opinion, and this kind of allows me to get out what I need to get out. Kind of like journaling, but I can't do, like, I don't mind journaling, but I find this more therapeutic. Yeah. So I feel a bit rejected, I feel a bit bummed. You know, I kind of, and he didn't really have an opinion. He was like, look, I'm really tired, and this has caught me off guard, and I haven't really slept, and I just need to go. I was like, you're not even sad that I'm cutting you off and you're not going to see me again? Even like the small little banter that we had, I really thought that would have made him a little bit more sad, maybe. And then a friend of mine at work was like, well, maybe he doesn't think it's over, because he kind of gave me the impression that he would process what I was saying and talk to me about it again another time. And it's kind of like, well, what's the point? What's the point of talking about it again? Like, you obviously aren't in the headspace to give me what I deserve. I deserve someone who won't be, you know, who won't even have to think twice about wanting to see me or spend time with me. Not just make me once a weekend booty call, and a couple of times during the week, as in phone calls. Like, I'm not about it. Just really, this whole thing just made me question myself and make me question who I am. You know, all those fears and validation, not validation, but all those fears, you know, am I good enough? What could I have done differently? If I was prettier, if I was smarter, if I was skinnier, I don't know. And then all I wanted to do today was just go home and cry and watch stupid sad movies and like watch The Notebook. Even though The Notebook is not real, I get it. I don't know. I just feel like I've had terrible luck. Trying to understand it. Anyway, so, you know, every time I feel like I'm moving forward, I feel like something happens and I take a step back. And I understand that I was the one that made that decision, but what's the point of meeting someone if they're not gonna if they're not ready? So frustrating. Anyway, I don't know what to say anymore. I'm a bit over it. So, needless to say, I'm feeling pretty sorry for myself. I just want someone to care about me and call, you know, just the little things that I miss. You know, someone calling me and asking me how my day was and actually giving a shit. And let me tell you, all the people on Tinder and Bumble don't want a relationship. I think I've spoken to 90% of the single males between the ages of 27 and 37 in Adelaide. And none of them want a relationship. Fucking so frustrating. Just want a fucking root and boot, and that's it. Where are the normal guys? Do they even fucking exist? Ugh, I'm so irritated. Can't go for a run because it's fucking dark. I don't want to sit in front of the TV because I'm just gonna fucking, it's just not gonna be good for me. So I'm trying to, I don't know, I'm trying to kill time, to be really honest. What do people do after work? Like, how do people, I don't understand. I don't get it. I really don't get it. I went out on the weekend because I was like, fuck this, I'm not sitting around and waiting for him to call me. I've got a life. So, rang a friend, we went out for dinner, and wasn't planning to drink. And then we shared a bottle of wine at dinner, which was nice. Only 2 glasses. I was like, yeah, cool, no worries, let's go home. No, let's go to my favourite place and have a drink. Got there, got to the bar. I was like, yeah, I'll have 1 drink and then we'll go. Then I can still drive, providing I have a lot of water and stuff before I go home. And then these guys were buying us drinks. Now, granted, they were free drinks, but they were old and balding. Free drinks, okay. I wasn't going to be rude. Wasn't going to say no. Couldn't get to the bar. They were at the bar. They were shouting, whatever. So it was nice. Struck up a conversation. And then 1 drink turned to many. And soon enough, I can't drive. And I've spent money getting in there, Ubering getting in there, Ubering getting home, left my car at my girlfriend's place, felt hungover the next day. Like, it was just a bad idea financially and physically as well, because like I mentioned in my previous videos, I have to stand up because my legs are sore. As I mentioned in my previous videos, when I drink, it's not good for my mental health. You put on weight, it's just a whole bunch of shit that happens to your body. That is not a good idea. But red wine turned to vodka and soda, turned to champagne, and soon enough I was smoking again, which I didn't want to do either. And so here we are 3 days later, 4 days later, 5 days later, Thursday. I feel depressed as shit. I feel fat. I feel gross. I still feel single. I met a few guys out, but one was like too full on and, you know, can I have your number? Following me everywhere, wouldn't leave me alone, wouldn't give me the opportunity to talk to anyone else. And then I gave him I took his phone number and he was like, you're not gonna call me, are you? Please, mate, it's fucking 1 a.m. I'm trying to get a cab home. My feet at this point were stinging from the pain of even putting pressure to walk to the taxi. That's where I was at. So I didn't give a fuck who he was. I didn't give a shit what his name was, how nice he was, how single or eligible he was. My feet were killing. He's like, you're not going to call me, are you? I knew this was going to happen. Why did I give you my number? This is the conversations we were having at 1 a.m. I just met him. I can tell you're a really nice person. I'd love to take you out for a drink, blah, blah, blah. He wasn't normal, guys. Anyway, so I did not call him, but I did find him on Bumble. And I don't think, you know what, in terms of dating, after Bob, you know, had a bit of an emotional impact on my heart, you know, I'm not fucking heartbroken, but I'm devastated. Like, yeah, you know, I liked him. He made me laugh. He cooked me dinner, guys. He cooked me dinner in an apron. How sweet is that? Cooked me breakfast in the morning before I went to work. avo and like eggs. Like, lovely guy, very charismatic, like everything I wanted. When you like something, set it free. If it's yours, it's meant to be. Yeah. So I don't know, watch this space. Haven't heard from him. I don't think I will hear from him. I kind of was just like, this is not going to happen. I can't do this anymore. It's not fair on me, and I don't want to emotionally invest in someone who doesn't feel the same way. And I think in that moment I was strong and I felt empowered, that I was standing in my own power and you know, putting myself first rather than putting my heart first. So anyway, I've rambled for half an hour. That's my update. So I was off all of the sites and swore that I wasn't going to date anyone or see anyone, and I just wanted to take some time for me, and then bam, all of a sudden bumped into someone I knew and someone I fancied from a long time ago, but we never got the opportunity to, you know, even catch up for a coffee, let alone kiss. Yeah, so I'm a bit bummed. Anyway, so I'm still single. I don't know if I find that hilarious or not. I'm still single, and I'm gonna get off the dating sites because they make me feel like shit. I'm even considering no drinking, no more smoking, of course, because that's really bad for you. No sugar, no carbs, no social media. Like, shoot me in the face. And just, I think the theory behind it is to really just reconnect with myself, meditate more, and see if that changes anything. You know, if you keep going around and round in circles and you're sick of your outcome, every day you do the same shit, you get the same outcome, right? What if you do something differently? You might get a different outcome. So that's my theory. I want to feel better about myself. Like, I don't want to wake up hungover and feel like shit, although I do enjoy the taste of red wine. I just don't want to feel like crap anymore. I want to feel good, and I want my mind to be clear. I want my mind to feel good. You know, and I want to feel confident again. I want to feel beautiful. I want to, not for the appeal of anybody else, but just want to feel confident in my own skin. And at the moment, I'm not feeling very confident. And yeah, I just need to reshift my focus and reshift my thinking and just enjoy my own company and not put so much pressure on myself, because I'm really feeling mentally, emotionally exhausted at the moment. Completely and utterly exhausted. So the idea of going on a date with someone I don't know, kill me now. No thanks. I still believe that I will meet someone at random, completely spontaneously, without even thinking about it. I do remember a psychic telling me once that I would bump into someone in a shop. It'll be like a Coles or a Woolies or a Bunnings or something, and I'd completely at random bump into them, and we'd hit it off straight away. I do really want to go back to see a psychic. Just don't have the money right now to see a good one. Anyway, so I'm feeling really tired, and I think this weekend I'm going to try and lay a little low and do some stuff around the house. I bought some stuff that I wanted to start, some like crafty projects to try and keep my hands busy from texting. And I find myself being drawn to social media a lot to pass the time, which I think a lot of people do struggle with. So I'm even considering giving that a flick just to reset my mind and what am I really existing every day for, you know? Finding a purpose other than being engrossed in social media and what other people think. So there you have it. That's my update. You know, I think I have to be grateful for the things that I do have, and I'm trying really hard to focus on those things. Things could be so much worse for me, and I need to pull my head up my ass and really turn around and say, well, it really is not that bad. It's not. Sometimes it's easy to fall into a pit of your own pity and your own sorrow. But anyway, so that's my update. Hope you've enjoyed my video. I haven't really given you much content, but I hope maybe I've inspired someone to, you know, even by being uncomfortable, to be comfortable is my message for this video. It was very uncomfortable for me, and it's something that my heart didn't want, was to say goodbye. But I had to make myself have that uncomfortable conversation to free myself and make myself feel more empowered in the situation and really stand up for what is right for me. You know, sometimes your head and your heart can really fight, but I think in this instance, I'm really proud of myself for standing in my truth, calling him out on his bullshit. You know, I have to give it to him. He obviously likes me because I was giving him nothing and he was contacting me. So, you know, he obviously likes me somewhat, and I don't know, maybe this chapter's closed, maybe it's not. I certainly won't be kissing him again. So, if anything, we're going to remain friends. So, I'm hoping to just not even have any contact, because that will make things easier for me to move on. But yeah, having that, you know, feeling uncomfortable and unsure for so many weeks, and then finally biting the bullet and having that uncomfortable conversation and doing something that I didn't want to do, but I needed to do because it was right for me to do. I think that's where my message is in this video, is hopefully to empower everybody else out there to be uncomfortable, to be comfortable, if that makes sense, and really stand up for what you believe in and stand in your own truth, and remember to love yourself more. Good night.